There's a lot about Sarah and Tara that's exactly alike. They drink the same coffee, they have the same great job, and they both have a high-quality education. The only difference? Sarah spent her first 2 years at Carroll Community College, getting the same exceptional education, but at less than half the cost. So while Tara uses her paycheck to make student loan payments, Sarah can use hers for other things, like going out for coffee. Get started at carrollcc.edu.
Carroll Indoor Sports Center, celebrating its 30th season. 66,000 square feet of fields and courts. Rain or shine, multiple soccer and lacrosse leagues. Artificial turf fields and courts to rent. Party rooms and snack bar available. Summer camp for the kids. Safe indoor environment for athletes of all ages. Carroll Indoor Sports Center. Your sport, anytime.
CMSportsNet is made possible by Carroll Links, Carroll Indoor Sports Center, and Independent Car Service. The Central Maryland Sports Network is a programming service of the Community Media Center.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a special CM Sportsnet broadcast. It's the second round of the regional playoffs, and we've got you covered tonight with a live halftime report. He's Nathan Schwartz. I'm Pat Stoetzer. We have 3 games in progress tonight, Nathan. South Carroll at Walkersville, Atholton at Westminster, and Man Valley at Winters Mill, the county rematch. We're going to get into all 3 of those games. We also had 1 game played Thursday evening in Frederick County. Liberty hit the road, another second straight week for the Lions on a Thursday. Hit the road into Frederick County to take on Middletown, and we're going to take a look soon at that bracket. But you had Liberty on the road last week. Big win at Williamsport, came down to the last few minutes, and the Lions, again, just sort of playing with house money as they go into round 2.
Yeah, it's tough when you have your starting quarterback injured. Sean Case not playing in this one. He didn't play in the Williamsport one either, but the freshman Peters did a great job of stepping in, but sometimes you just run into one of those juggernauts. The Knights, one of those teams.
Yeah, and you're going to see the highlights here in a few moments, but Liberty's season came to an end. Middletown won the game 51-7 to the Lions end the year 6-5. A fun fact, though, Nathan, the Lions went into that game with a 6-4 record and 6-0 on the road. They won all the road games until they played last night against Middletown. Tough customer against the Knights in Frederick County.
Yeah, it's really a positive sign when you see that your team's able to win away from home. But sometimes, like I said, sometimes that's not enough.
Yeah,
and we'll figure out why in a second.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that momentarily. Just a quick recap though of here's the bracket. I'm sorry, there you go. So we saw the score there, 51-7. Walkersville playing South Carroll tonight. This is the 2A 1A West region bracket. Now you see the state quarters. That gets reshuffled based on your regular season points. So it doesn't necessarily mean Middletown plays the winner of Walkersville, South Carroll. It just means that we'll see that Middletown is into the round of 8 starting next weekend. But Liberty ends the year 6-5. Again, it was a tough one. It was all Middletown from the get-go. The hometown cruised to the victory, and we'll see some of the big plays coming up here in a second from Thursday's game. But it was, again, a tall order for the Lions to go on the road again, a little bit closer to home. They went to Williamsport the first time out in Washington County. But, out there in Middletown, tough place to play on the turf. They're big up front. They're speedy. The first play you're going to see, I want you to check out the elusiveness of Middletown QB Britton Poffenbarger. He's going to keep this play alive on both sides of the line of scrimmage, then throws it down the field. Actually, not just yet. Then throws down the field. Ryan McLister is going to catch it all alone because Liberty's defense was worried about Poffenbarger, and McLister makes a man miss, makes another man miss, and gets into the end zone for a touchdown.
It's impossible to ask a secondary to cover for that long.
No doubt. Brian Peters gets a run here, but he's stripped of the ball. Nathan mentioned in for Sean Case. Middletown takes over after the fumble short field there. Poffenbarger finds the end zone. Another touchdown for the Knights in what's going to become a huge first half. Peters going to get some pressure here, but he rolls out and completes a pass to Callum Greco. And Greco has some solid yards after the catch. We've seen these guys connect a lot in the second half of the season. Peters can't escape this rush. It's Cooper Kiefhofer with the sack. And again, just all Knights, too tough for Liberty to overcome. But the Lions do make some things happen. Peters goes up top. He finds Stephen Puckett, acrobatic catch inside the 10-yard line, so nice play there. And that sets up this. Peters over the middle. Carter Weddle, slant pass, 7-yard touchdown. The Lions do avoid the shutout. Weddle scores. Now check this play out. The Lions forced to punt near their own goal line. Middletown's going to field it. Clinton Lee right around the 41-yard line. He's going to come toward the near sideline, get away from a defender, and he has the sideline basically as a helper down the sideline. Take a look at the scoreboard real quick there. That's still the second quarter. 51-7 was the halftime score. That was the final score at Middletown. It's not the way you want to end the season, but the Lions had some things go their way during the year. We saw Puckett. Stephen Puckett had a tremendous season. You mentioned Sean Case. He gets hurt late in the year. Brian Peters comes in. He's a freshman. So you've got some young guys. Andrew McGlynn, freshman. Some other their receivers. You know, we saw Liberty through the year do a lot of good things, and there's some things to build on next year for the Lions.
Yeah, Liberty's always been a team that plays a lot of young players throughout the season, and this year no different, especially at the quarterback position, like you mentioned, Pat, having Peters come in, play some of the biggest snaps of the season for Liberty down the stretch. Again, just a freshman, get his first snaps of varsity football, really. So when I look at this Liberty season, I see a bunch of segments, right? They had a interesting start to the year. They lost by 1 point to Walkersville. Then they get a couple of wins. Then they stack a couple losses. Then they win 3 in a row. And, you know, things are starting to look on the come up. They lose that rivalry game against Century. And that really, you know, was a sour taste in their mouth at the end of the regular season.
Right.
Able to bounce back and get a great win last week.
Big bounce back,
injury on the road Thursday night, beginning of the playoffs. That's tough no matter who's playing.
Sure.
So I was really impressed with how they were able to pull things out last week. But like we talked about earlier, having to face Middletown at Middletown, that is no easy task.
No, it isn't. And 2 straight years for the Lions to go to Williamsport and get a win in the playoffs. So congrats to the Lions for, you know, getting a playoff victory and playing in the second week. The 2A North bracket's up next. We're going to see a little bit of action from that top game tonight. Winters Mill at home against Man Valley. C. Milton Wright playing Carver Tech on the bottom half. Nathan and I talked about this last week. It's a rematch from week 4. We were at that game together. Man Valley overcame the early success of Winters Mill, made some adjustments, used a trick play to their advantage, played good defense, and won by 10. We're going to take a look at some of the first half highlights from tonight in the rematch. This one for the chance to go to the Elite 8. And again, it's just a county against county. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, you see it off the bat. I mean, this is going to be a dogfight. It's been a dogfight throughout the entire first half right out the bat. Winters Mill getting a lot of good pressure.
And there's some pressure right there on Bo Snell. But Ezzy Poutre does a great job taking, you see the flag fly in. I believe they got Poutre for a face mask. They celebrate the sack, but it's going to give Man Valley 15 yards and a first down.
And that sets up this long ball. Bo Snell, Malachi Grosh.
You don't see either of these teams do that too often, Nathan. Nice play there. Nice catch. Nice throw, nice catch, and 6 points for the Mavs.
Yeah, and for a low-scoring game, that's the only touchdown you're going to see in these first half highlights. But it's a lot of the back and forth, and a lot of, you'll see number 8 in that maroon doing what he's been doing all year.
We've seen that a lot. Now, one person we haven't seen so far is Jake Andolina, one of the top rushers in the county. You hit it on the head early, Nathan, when you and I were watching the games. Haven't seen number 5. Don't know if he's hurt. Don't know if he just couldn't make it out there, sick, what have you. But Jarrell Baker, who you see right there on that play, who had a good season last year, has been filling in adequately. Of course, they still have Luke Phillips, and they have number 8. There's a pass out in the flat to Baker. But again, this game has been played between the 30s for the most part, except for that one long pass to Grosh.
Yeah, and really what's intrigued me is you see this play right here to Phillips. Winters Mill, other than that one play to Denning, really hasn't gotten the run game going. That's what they've been doing so well all year, what they did well at the beginning of that first matchup between these two teams. You see another solid play there by Poutre to stop Dave from breaking one loose. But
Right.
we talked about last week, the catalyst in this one was going to be which team could run the ball better. So far, honestly, neither team has really been able to do that. That one long pass for Manchester Valley, the difference maker.
That was a big play there. It was a short yard to gain, and they used Connor Stack to get the first down. And you're going to have to watch 34 in white if you're Winters Mill, and if you're Man Valley, you're going to watch. Look at him trying to punch the ball away from Austin Denning. It's like you said dogfight. That's what it's been. Big play here late in the second quarter.
Yeah, Winters Mill was really in desperation mode to try and get any sort of spark.
And
There it is, right?
Yep.
Isaiah Talkish, he's been one of the top players in the county in terms of getting interceptions on the season. He had, I believe it was 3 of them before that, so that's his 4th of the season. And that sets up this big play for Winters Mill.
Again, going to the air, you don't see Denning do it too much. He kind of underthrows it. Shamar Mayo comes back and makes the catch. And they're running out of time here, too. I believe they had a timeout. They talked it over, kicked the field goal. And then this is actually third quarter action here, early in the third quarter, as Connor Stack made a nice play there. So the halftime score, 7-3, Manchester Valley in the lead. That last play in the half kind of saved Winters Mills Bacon to get some points on the board. Denning connected on a 32-yard field goal.
Yeah, that one we didn't show it, but it would have been good from about 45 too. Great job by Denning, and really that's complimentary football at its finest. Turnover with 30 seconds left, long play, get points to get Winters Mill right back into the thick of things.
Highly anticipated game in the 3A North. Atholton at Ruby Field tonight to take on Westminster. You see the top half of that bracket, another huge game. Milford Mill, the top seed, hosting Newtown. The Raiders invade Ruby Field, and right away, the Raiders go up top in the first quarter. They took up 6 minutes of the first half of the quarter. So basically, the half of the first quarter was all the Raiders. A nice catch there by Isaiah Johnson from QB Tyler Bell. You said you were going to talk a lot about this highlight reel.
Yeah, we're also going to talk a lot about Nick Comfer and this Westminster offense. I mean, how many times have we seen Comfer do that this year? Of course, he was the lead back all year. Jack Hitchcock back into the fold. You'll see him in a few sequence.
That was a 33-yard run for Comfer.
Yeah, that was the first big play for Westminster. They give it right back to him here. The tough runs, too, for Comfer are a strength of his.
1,000-yard rusher this year, and he's adding to it in this game. Both these teams had a first-round bye, so who was going to be rusty, who was going to have the rest, well, we had remains to be seen. And you said Jack Hitchcock takes it from there, down inside the red zone, arms outstretched, he knows how to score, and puts the Owls in front by 7.
And he's scored in every game since his return.
Little draw play here, but a nice job by Westminster's defense. That's Ryan Lavender, I believe, 88 with the nice tackle there. But the Raiders got on the board early second quarter.
Yes, they do, and Darren Smith rushes this one in for Atholton. Another one of those back-and-forth games in the Winters Mill Man Valley game. There really wasn't a lot of scoring, but it was back and forth. In this one, it's been the scoring, and you're going to see a nice catch and run here for Xavier Howard.
Yeah, so passing the flat, we said, oh, Howard, nice catch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll count that 6 maybe. A great cutback. Howard turns on the Jets. 57-yard catch and run for a touchdown. Talk about a great run. How about Tyler Bell on this run, Nathan?
I mean, this is why he's one of the best quarterbacks in the state. You could make that argument. I mean, just trucking through Westminster defenders.
And fired up, too,
my
when he gets
goodness.
up.
I mean, Jace Thomas has been such a good defensive back for the Owls this season, but Bell made him look like, a doll right there.
And then Bell actually can throw the ball, too. Landed in the wall for the touchdown for the Raiders. So a 1-point game. They missed the extra point, but the Owls had life, or at least chances in the second, late in the second quarter. That pass completed out to.
It was Doan.
Yes, Casey Doan. Yep, correct. Number 10.
And this is honestly the biggest play of the half for me. Atholton, if they give up this touchdown, they're down by 7 or 8 points.
Ooh, yeah.
But I mean, that's an unbelievable PBU right there. That's Zahir Myrick Brown, the safety, and that forces Westminster to take the points there at the end of the half. They did convert on this, so that's a 4-point swing there for
Absolutely.
Atholton at the end of the first half, despite trailing.
17-13, yeah, it could have been a lot worse. And so we have one more bracket to show you, and that's back to the 2A, 1A West because we mentioned South Carroll, Walkersville, the bottom half there. The Cavaliers with that huge win last Saturday at Randallstown. Hey, 3-0 counts just the same as 51-7.
That's right.
The Cavaliers knock out the 2 seed, then they got to go play Walkersville on the road tonight in Frederick County. So another tall task to go out and face the Lions, who, they're not quite Middletown's caliber, but they're certainly one of the Frederick County, top teams around in Frederick County. So can South Carroll put together another road win to get into the state quarterfinals for the first time in a couple years?
And we saw what Walkersville did last week against Century. They were able to use Owen Amaral, but here they use the aerial attack. Owen Brooks gets a big pass. That's to Max Berth down the sideline for Walkersville. That set up the Lions' opening score.
It's Owen Brooks. He had a quarterback sneak. We saw him do it a couple times last week against Century in their win. Braden Maslewski can use his legs, Nathan. He picked up a first down for South Carroll.
Yeah, Maslewski, great to see him back into the fold. He's been back at the quarterback spot for a couple weeks.
You like this play.
Yeah, the guy who took his spot at QB, Jackson Costos, man, that was nearly an interception the other way. But it's a fake punt all the way down to the 2-yard line. Man, what a play right there for South Carroll. And they convert. Maslewski was able to run it in from 2 yards out. The extra point ties things up at 7.
7-7, so South Carroll has a little bit of momentum there. But again, Walkersville's offense a little more well-rounded, I'll say. Owen Brooks can use his legs there, too. South Carroll's certainly been better the second half of the season, but they're maybe run first, and Walkersville is as well. But you'll see Colton Amaral here take the pitch and use that speed. He gets down that sideline faster than about anybody, and Amaral turns on the Jets, and he scores. I believe it was a 44-yard touchdown. and that puts the Lions up 14-7. But South Carroll hanging around. And here's Anthony Rodriguez, a big reason why. We've seen a lot of angry runs tonight. Here's another good one from Rodriguez.
Yeah, I thought for a second live that he was going to cut that one back. He's been having a lot of runs like that where he seems to make a ton of people miss. This was a huge play.
It sure
South Carroll,
was.
Can't get the kick above the line. Could have been blocked. Just a low kick regardless. But that sets up this long drive for Walkersville.
So yeah, we watched this live too, and I didn't realize how far back they were at their 5. So this is actually Brooks taking off on a long run down the sideline, getting behind the defense. He pulls up a little bit. Maybe he was out of gas on that play.
He was out of gas.
I'd have been out of gas too. Instead, why not give it back to Amaral? Amaral gets not all the way around the edge, but enough. Rodriguez tackles him there. Anyway, this is a 95-yard drive for Walkersville. A bit of a backbreaker to end the half, or at least get close to the end of the half. That put him up 21-7. Brooks scored again from 1 yard out.
That's his second straight week against the Carroll County team with 2 quarterback sneak touchdowns.
He can also heave it downfield. And how about Messiah Martin behind the defense? Gets the feet in, just need one in high school. He had plenty of room. And the halftime score there is Walkersville 28. And you see the coaching staff fired up. 28-7, I believe, is the halftime score, unless they kicked a field goal there in the end.
I didn't see this one. They added a
I'm
field
not sure.
goal there at the
I thought it
end.
was 28-7. That could have been early third quarter action. There's your halftime scores. Walkersville 28-7 over South Carroll. Westminster leads Atholton 17-13, and that Man Valley score 7-3. Now, Man Valley won last week's game, I believe, 7-3 over Bel Air. So if that holds, we'll see. Impressions, Nathan, a little bit of what we saw out of these 3 games in the first half.
Well, I'll start with the county matchup, of course. That's the main focus of the night, I'd say. Kind of what we expected coming in, to be honest with you. One of those dog fights where you're going to see rushing, you're going to see, maybe some big turnovers come into play. Isaiah Talkish with that interception at the end of the half, that was crucial for Winters Mill. Don't know exactly what's going on at the moment in that game, but just taking into the momentum for Winters Mill in that first half, they had nothing up until that play for Talkish. And when they are able to get 3 points out of that in 30 seconds, by the way, to be able to go from your minus 20 and get 3 points at the end, that's a huge swing.
No doubt, no doubt. We said it to each other. If they go down 14-3 here in the first half, they can come back, of course, but it's not their style, right?
Right.
They're going to need a big thing to happen here to try to come back from down, two scores. Making it 7-3 is a lot different than but 14-0 actually. They hadn't scored yet, so the field goal there late in the first half. Atholton, Westminster kind of going the way we thought. The Owls a little bit better right now scoring, but the Raiders have come to play. Yeah,
2 teams that are pretty evenly matched, if you ask me. What Tyler Bell's been able to do for Atholton all year has been great. And I said he was one of the best quarterbacks in the state. I really mean that. You can see, some of those runs, some of those passes on the money. He's been great so far tonight for Atholton. I just wonder if they're going to be able to keep up with Westminster. They've been able to do this all year. They had that loss at the beginning. They haven't lost since. Comfort, Hitchcock, O'Connor, all on a week of rest. And you even have Xavier Howard breaking free for 60 yards on a pass into the flat. So it seems like, for a one-possession game at the half, everything has gone Westminster's way for the most part.
Just real quick, colleague Bob Blueball at the game doing some stats for us. Nick Comfer had about 60 yards or so at the half. He had the 57-yard catch by Xavier Howard for the touchdown. Rory O'Connor, just 2 of 5, but 60 yards and the score. And then you mentioned Tyler Bell, 10 of 17 for 172. Isaiah Johnson, 4 catches for 97. Landon Lawal has a touchdown catch, and he has 4 catches for 65. So some points being scored on the board here in that first half. We have soccer, we have football, and we have football going on as well. Soccer state championships taking place this weekend at UMBC Stadium in Catonsville. South Carroll's girls are in the 1A final. Century's girls playing tonight in the 2A final. Liberty boys tomorrow in the 1A final. We had the Cavaliers last night. They took on Hartford Tech, going after their very first state championship. Did the Cavaliers get it done at UMBC? You're about to find out. South Carroll and Hartford Tech met on Thursday, November 13th at UMBC Stadium in Catonsville with the Class 1A Girls Soccer State Championship on the line. And the Cavaliers strike early in the first half. Mia Talley sends the ball toward the goal. SC crashes it, and Kenley Cowball bodies up to put her team on the board less than 3 minutes into the contest. free kick from the Cavs, and it gets redirected, but Cobra's keeper Riley quickly makes the save. Late in the first half, Hartford Tech tries to break through. Ashley Shelton with the kick, and Gabby Evans gobbles it up for South Carroll before Brooke Pollock gets a foot on it. Second half action now, and the Cobras on the move. Lainey Weaver leads Abby Downs, but her shot sails wide right, and it's still a 1-0 South Carroll lead. South Carroll almost scores here on this corner kick. Kylie Mee with a chip shot and quickly makes the stop, and the ball goes over the crossbar. Corner from the far side, and this time the Cavs cash in. The ball gets to Anna Santacroce, and the senior scores for a 2-0 South Carroll lead 8 minutes into the second half. A few minutes later, it's Shelton with a nice serve into the box, and Evans gets the save for South Carroll. Peyton Davis sends in a nifty flip throw from the near sideline, but the Cobras snuff it out, and we're still at 2-0 in favor of the Cavaliers. The pace favors the Cavs, and they get one more goal. A through ball from Cowball to Santacroce, and it's a 2-goal night for the senior forward. It's all over in Catonsville. Final score, South Carroll 3, Hartford Tech 0. The Cavaliers end their season 18-1, and they capture the program's first ever state title. Congratulations, Coach Andrew Isacco. South Carroll gets it done. They lost one game this year, Nathan, to the county champs and the team that's playing right now in the 2A state finals, that's Century. About as dominant a season as you're going to see, and South Carroll capped it with a shutout win. Yeah, I was at that one game that they lost against Century, and that was pretty much back and forth the whole way. I mean, you talk about a team that had so many contributors. Callball gets the first goal in the championship game. She got the first goal on a similar play in the semifinal game against Liberty. And, I mean, Santacroce getting 2 goals in that one, absolutely huge. The fact that they had so many contributors, and honestly, you look at their schedule top to bottom, domination a lot of the time. I talked with Kenley after the semifinal game, and they only had about 2 or 3 games this year where they had it decided by 1 goal. Other than that, it was pretty much a blowout all the way for South Carroll, and you know they rode that momentum all the way to the state title. 18-1, a final record for the Cavaliers, about as good as you can get. Again, you lose to a team that's a perennial state title contender and what, 7 in a row county titles in Century. 1-0, I think, was the score of the game. Something like that. Very close game. It was either 1-0 or 2-1. Yeah, either way, a close game. And congrats again to South Carroll, the first ever soccer state title, boys or girls, for South Carroll. So pretty cool stuff there at UMBC. Century's got a chance tonight to add another girls soccer state championship. They're playing right now against Mount Hebron of Howard County. It's just some footage here for you. As you can see, we will do our best to have a recap of the game in our post-game show when we wrap up the football scores, and we'll hopefully be able to give you some insight as to what went down here between Century and Hartford Tech. That game, first half action right now, started around 7:30. So girls soccer trying to make it 2 for 2. And again, Liberty, the reigning boys 1A state champ, plays tomorrow afternoon against Brunswick, a rematch of last year's game that Liberty won in PK. So still some exciting stuff on the pitch. Meanwhile, football trying to get past round 2 and then get into the state quarterfinals, and we got you covered the rest of the night. Come back to us later around 9:30 when the games end, and we'll wrap things up and talk about it. So our halftime report in the books. Thanks for watching. Be sure to catch all of our high school sports content online on Facebook and YouTube, as well as our website, CMSportsNet.com. You can watch us on cable channels 18 and HD 1072. And, of course, be sure to follow us on Instagram at CMSportsNet Action. So for Nathan Schwartz, I'm Pat Stoetzer saying thanks again, and come on back after the games for another live report. We'll see you then.
CMSportsNet is made possible by Carroll Links, Carroll Indoor Sports Center, and Independent Car Service.
There's a lot about Sarah and Tara that's exactly alike. They drink the same coffee, they have the same great job, and they both have a high-quality education. The only difference? Sarah spent her first 2 years at Carroll Community College, getting the same exceptional education, but at less than half the cost. So while Tara uses her paycheck to make student loan payments, Sarah can use hers for other things, like going out for coffee. Get started at carrollcc.edu.
Carroll Indoor Sports Center, celebrating its 30th season. 66,000 square feet of fields and courts. Rain or shine, multiple soccer and lacrosse leagues. Artificial turf fields and courts to rent. Party rooms and snack bar available. Summer camp for the kids. Safe indoor environment for athletes of all ages. Carroll Indoor Sports Center. Your sport, anytime.